Hello everybody and welcome back to The Endless Party.
We're glad you're here.
We're glad you're here. Today, I actually wanted to share more of a spontaneous message. It's just been something that I've been thinking about a lot and I just don't want to lose it. Sometimes I'll get an idea for a podcast and if I don't
use it, you lose it.
You lose it. So here we go. We're going to share it. This is the idea I wanted to share today. It is that not every season of life is going to be the harvest.
Yeah.
And this has really struck me lately. I think, so Elijah and I were runners, and right now it's Olympic trial season, and it's awesome. We're watching these athletes who have worked and worked and worked finally reap the benefits of their work, and they're going to go to the Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
And while that is so incredible for them, I think in my own life, I have to remember that there's a time and a place where you just have to put your head down and get to work.
Yeah.
Instead of thinking that you should be reaping a harvest because other people are too.
Mm-hmm. I would agree. It's actually kind of interesting because we were having this conversation yesterday as I think sometimes all of us get in this little negative mindset. You can call it stinking thinking.
Stinking thinking.
Yeah, that's a Zig Ziglar quote. Stinking thinking. And we see friends, family members buying houses, buying cars, doing all these great things. And we think that we should be in that same spot in life.
I also think too, it is so publicized on social media. Everybody seems to be harvesting every single day of their lives.
And really, they're not.
They're reaping something every single day. But yeah, like Elijah said, really they're not.
Yeah, it's actually pretty interesting too. Is I think what's so cool is that you can lay the groundwork to harvest.
Oh yeah.
You do plant those seeds, but what we're trying to really express in this little snippet of a podcast is the fact that you can be in the planting phase right now, and that is completely okay.
And that's
exciting.
exciting.
You can just be starting out, and it really is exciting in life. It's actually pretty interesting because we've seen certain individuals make it big, and it's pretty cool because a lot of them start over.
They love to be in the planting phase.
Yeah, they love to be in the planting phase. And it is pretty unique. Me and Meg are actually avid plant lovers.
We do
love
plants.
gardens, we love plants, we love nurturing, really just nature's beauty. And we had a little garden when we first married because our little apartment, we were able to have this little garden. And every day we would go out and just tend this garden.
It was so
And we did.
fun.
We started at these tiny, tiny seeds, and then eventually we saw the fruits of our labors, as the scriptures say, and saw this grow. But this is what's crazy too, is when you first plant the seed, it is months before you reap the harvest.
And when you first plant the seed, sometimes it's a couple weeks before you even see a little sprout. And
before you see anything.
So there's this doubt. You're like, I feel like there's always this doubt when you plant a seed. Yeah, you're like, am I even going to see anything, or did I just plant this for nothing?
Yeah, but what's pretty cool is this understanding that you plant the seed, you wait months and months and months, and then you harvest. And harvest doesn't take that much time.
No.
Harvest lasts a day, maybe two, and then your harvest is gone and you're done. But it's the weeks and months that really you put into that effort for just that one day of reward.
I know. And sometimes I get down on myself because I think we live in a harvest happy culture, and I'm like, I am not seeing anything right now, and that's really hard. But I think this is just such a good reminder, but because I was reminded, I'm now excited to be in this planting phase. And I think a really good example is with our babies and with parenting.
Yeah.
I feel like you are in the planting phase with your kids for
years.
At least 18 years.
Minimum.
And even with Winnie and B now, they're getting older, and so I feel like they take more work in some areas and less work in others. But I feel like there's this lie that the older your kids get, the less work they take, but I think it's actually more.
I would say, well, it's just a different amount of work. For example, they're out of the newborn phase finally, and we had 0 sleep, right?
Mhm.
But now they're 6, 7, almost 8 months old,
And now
and they
they're-
need all the attention.
Now they're in the
during
play
the
with
day.
me phase.
Yeah, now they're I'm bored. Like, what are you gonna do with me? And it's interesting because it does change, and like even with back to the planting analogy, you know, you first plant those seeds, you get the garden ready, you get the soil ready and everything, and then all of a sudden it's like now your plants are growing, now you got to keep varmints
You
away,
gotta weed
now
it.
you got to there's just different, it just changes. It's not that your effort changes, it's just that what you do changes.
I was reading another book. I don't remember. Oh, actually, so I'm reading a book right now. It's called Parenting with Love and Logic. And it's really cool because it talks about how the daily efforts with your children do matter. And in our heads, we want to see like progress as this perfect like line graph that just goes straight up in a perfect line. But progress with children especially is more like this, where as long as you're seeing, sorry, let's just poked him in the face. As long as you're seeing a trend of up, you're doing something right. But you have to realize that in the journey upwards, there are plateaus and there's even drops, and there's points where you're going really fast and you're going up really fast, but other times it's slow. And anyways, it's just not a perfect.
Well, would any story be great if the character just had a perfect path to success?
No.
It's the same in life. Like, that's why we all relate to these characters. That's why we relate to Harry Potter, Luke Skywalker. I mean, pretty much any famous book lover, or book character, I mean.
Mm-hmm.
We relate to them because they go through trials, they go through setbacks, and then ultimately they do reap the reward. They do see the success at the end of the day. But it is interesting because it's like you said, success isn't just an upward trend.
It's not perfect.
No,
Not
there's
this perfect little line
plateaus,
graph,
there's
yeah.
even digressions, and then who knows, some whoop-de-woos, and then you're on to success.
The whoop-de-woos. Last night, last night we put the babies to bed, and I looked at Elijah and I was like, man, like yesterday, I don't know what it was. It was just a longer day. Like, I don't know what was going on. We were kind of recovering from a trip, and we were trying to get back in the groove and trying to like be productive, but also our babies needed a little bit more. I don't know. And I looked at Elijah and I was like, I'm gonna be real. Today was like a harder day to be a mom. And he looked at me and he was like, but that's why being a parent is so meaningful. It was like, because it was a really hard day, but you did it anyways. You still took care of your babies. And so I think that's kind of a message too, where it's like, even if you're having a harder day and you're not seeing the immediate results that you want, you're still moving upward. And it's in that struggle that life becomes, like, that pursuit will become meaningful.
Yeah, I think that's what makes anything worth doing, right, is going to be a little difficult.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it meaningful.
Oh, yeah. I have another story. So I am not an Olympian, but I did compete in track competitively, and I remember I was like a freshman and I really wanted to win state, but I figured that out the end of my freshman year, and what happened is I started just being like really consistent about my running, and I did it every day. And it was interesting because Elijah and I have talked about it. There was a lot of times in my running where I would hit a certain time and it would be like, like for the 800, let's say it's my like sophomore year, it'd be like 217, 217, 217, 217. And I'd run that same time like 5 times. And then all of a sudden I would see this drop and it would be like a 215. But in the midst of that 217, like no one saw, from the 217 to the 215, like no one saw the workouts. And no one saw the workouts that went really well, and no one saw the workouts that went really poorly. But like the drop did still come, and I did eventually like reach my goal of winning state. And I think that has really helped guide my life, because it was a testament too that it's like I firmly believe you can accomplish whatever you want to accomplish, but like we're kind of talking about, the journey isn't perfect, and that's
Yeah.
okay.
Well, so I think it's bamboo. So if you plant bamboo, you can water it and water it and water it for 5 years. 5 years, you don't see anything.
Not even a sprout.
Not even a sprout.
What?
And then on the 5th year, it shoots up 30 feet in the air. And it does. It takes 5 years.
Oh
And
my
you don't see
word.
anything at all. But it's like, did bamboo shoot up 30 feet in a day? Or was it 5 years in the making? Right? It was 5 years in the making, but you just saw it in a day.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that can be really a prime example of what we're speaking about. Is a lot of times that in life, what we're striving to accomplish or what we're striving to really just tackle is like bamboo. It's going to be 5 years in the making, but one day you will see the result of your labors, and it's going to be 30 feet high. And I think that's what's pretty cool, just in general, and like just in life, is oftentimes we think we are failures because we don't see that tiny little sprout, but we don't see the inner workings of everything going on under the soil. And just like Meg was saying, nobody sees what all of these Olympians currently went through for the past 4 years for this one race at the Olympic trials to make the Olympic team. We just see their glory and their limelight of winning that gold medal or winning that silver or winning that bronze. We didn't see the countless miles they put in, the tears that were shed, the blood that was given every day in order to get to that one race.
Like, all we celebrate, let's say it's the 800 meters, all we celebrate is their, 2 minutes on the track.
Yeah.
We don't celebrate the work. We don't highlight the work as much as
and that's why it's interesting with when the Olympians do take the stand, the podium.
They normally cry.
They cry. Yeah, it's because you just dedicated your whole life to this. Like, why wouldn't you cry?
It's a big moment.
It is a big moment, and you should own that moment.
And that's the thing. It's not bad to harvest at all.
No, it's a good thing.
It's a great thing to harvest.
But it's just the phase of life that you're in. Like, be happy to be in the planting phase, be happy to be in the working phase, and be happy to be in the harvest phase.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I wanted to, you've shared this with me before. Let's talk a little bit about business. And how many businesses fail every year?
Oh, it's 80%. 80% of all startups fail, and then of those 80%, I believe it's, so 80% of all business startups fail immediately, and then 50% of those 80 fail within 5 years.
And anyway, so Elijah was telling me this, and I was like, why? I was like, do they not have enough resources, or why do these endeavors fail? And then what Elijah and I came to the conclusion is I'm pretty sure people just give up.
Yeah, it is exactly what happens.
They just stop in the planting phase.
Well, it's kind of cool because I actually talked to you about this. I think it was either this morning or yesterday. And the scriptures even tell us, I think it's the Apostle Paul who wrote, the man who wins the prize is not the strongest or fastest man, it's the man who endures to the end. And I think that can be a huge lesson in life. It's not the person who starts out the quickest, it's not the biggest and strongest. It's the man who consistently shows up every single day, works as hard as he possibly can, comes home, goes to bed, and does it again the next day. And that's how all businesses are successful. That's how marriages are successful. That's how parenting is successful, is that you have to show up every single day consistently. That's what matters. It doesn't matter if you take your wife on a beautiful anniversary, but you neglect her the rest of the year. And it doesn't matter if you go and spend 24 hours at your business one day and then you take it off for 2-3 weeks. That's not going to make a difference in business or your marriage. What matters is that you spend 20 minutes a day having a conversation with your wife, or you spend an hour a day working on your side hustle. But it has to be every day. Mm-hmm. And that's what it is. It's consistency, it's enduring, and that's just how eventually you do reap the harvest.
Yes. One thing I wanted to talk about too is I think that something I've had to learn is that effort is relative to your day. I think in my perfectionist mind, I want to be able to accomplish the exact same things in the exact same way every day.
Mm-hmm.
And I think as I've grown older, I've realized that, you know, if I can, that's great, but also I have to give myself the grace that, like, I just got to take it day by day.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what makes it easy too. Like, I feel like it would be super daunting if you and I, even in this podcast, were like, okay, we need 10,000 podcast episodes, which that's a lot, maybe 1,000 podcast episodes. I feel like we'd never podcast because, like, just having that 1,000 episodes just seems,
It seems daunting.
it seems like a lot, but it's like, you know, we can wake up and be like, you know, I could film one today.
Well,
I can get it done.
I think that's why so many people don't start the businesses that they have at the back of their mind, because that seems so daunting. Instead of just doing one thing every day for 30 days.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for example, if any of you have a pen and paper right now, okay, I want you to write 1X on that paper, and you'll see 1X. That doesn't seem like much. But then if you put 30 X's down, all of a sudden it's like, that's a lot of X's. Then if you do it 365 times, like, look at the work that you can put in over a course of a year and just one day at a time. You don't have to do all 365 days today.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to do one.
Right.
And I think that's what's so cool about this. It's like, just start small and simple.
Yeah. And I think again, I just wanted to say, like, I just want us to really remember that on social media and in our culture, like, it seems like you have to have success today. It feels like you have to start your business and then make $1 million tomorrow, but that's not the case, and that's not life, and that's also not how God works.
No.
Elijah and I are firm believers that God helps us and directs our life in small and simple ways, but he also tells us by small and simple things our great things come to pass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah. Okay, so our little baby is up
We're
for
gonna
her
leave
nap,
it at
so
that.
we'll catch you later. But thank you for being with us today, and
Absolutely.
no matter what you're pursuing, I hope that you will remember to enjoy the planting phase and to
enjoy every phase.
stick at it day in and day out, and you will reap that harvest.
Absolutely. Till next time, friends.
Peace.
Peace.